I then transitioned to Brazil, and this was in February of 2012. I moved to Brazil. I knew a handful of people. I didn't speak the language, and I get there, and it's exciting at first, but then the reality of what this decision has called me to just hits. I'm far away from home. I don't have any of my familiar friends anymore, even the friends that I had made in New York City. Now I'm alone again. And this was just, again, this is kind of a pattern in my walk with the Lord where he's called me to be and what he's called me to do. So it might not be the same for you, but this was the cost of obedience in my life where, I had to give up friendships. I had to give up the comfort of, knowing where I lived and being able to travel on my own because I went to Brazil and I couldn't just leave the base. I didn't know how to speak the language. So I always had to have someone with me. Most of the people at the base did not speak any English. One of my friends who had been a translator, she spoke English, but we were in two different programs, so we weren't around each other a lot. And she knew I was really trying to learn the language, so she wasn't speaking to me in English either, unless I was very desperate, which did happen usually in the evening every night. I was so tired from language learning. But I'm there, just surrounded by Brazilians. And I remember in my time in Brazil, after a few months of being there, I'm in my room and I'm crying again because I feel so lonely. Lord, I don't have friends. I can't speak the language. And even when I tried to engage in a conversation, which I was trying to do, they would be speaking so fast, the conversation would move on. And the phrase that I had formulated in my mind was from like the conversation 5 minutes ago. So it wouldn't have fit in. And I would just sit there kind of frustrated and defeated. And so I'm praying and just crying out to God. God, I'm so alone. I have no friends. I have no one to talk with. And God met me so closely in that moment. And I heard him speak to me again. And he said, Wesley, I am your friend and I can speak English. I know English very well, and you can speak with me in English anytime you want. And it actually, when I heard him say that, it instantly turned my tears into laughter. I started laughing and at this revelation that's not really a revelation that God speaks English and he desires to be my friend, but it was more the revelation of friendship, that God actually wants to be my friend and that I can grow in intimacy with him, especially when I don't have a lot of friends around or people I can talk with and things of that nature. Even though there was this cost of my obedience where I was saying yes to God, and which meant saying no to other things, no to being around people that I knew and could speak with and to have friendship with, etc. That I was saying yes to him, and that meant deeper friendship with him. That meant knowing him more and really being pressed into him. And I think today we don't get those opportunities as much because we don't obey as much, or we don't even listen to where he might be calling us and say yes to those things because they're hard. And they were hard for me. These seasons of life were hard, were difficult for me, but there was so much gold in the midst of it that when I look back, I wouldn't trade it for anything because he was doing something in my life. He was working something in my heart where he truly was the reason, my reason for anything that I did, anywhere that I went, that it was to follow him, to go with him, to love him in every aspect of my life, and that nothing would compare with him, not a location, not a person, that he was all in all, number one at all times. So I lived in Brazil for about a year in 2012. And at the end of that year, I had gone to Haiti with a group from Brazil. And was a team of 13 men, mostly pastors, who were going to go rebuild churches that had fallen in the earthquake that had happened in Haiti. So the Lord spoke to me to go. I didn't have the money. He provided the money last minute, the exact amount of the flight. So I took that as a confirmation and I went with this group to Haiti. Now, the entire 2 weeks I was there, I was very confused about why I was there. It's 100 degrees. They're building church structures. I have no construction experience. They needed people to help cook the food, but it's, Brazilian food cooked in the Haitian way, which is like over open fire. I had no idea how to do anything. So I really felt at a loss. I'm speaking at this point, I spoke Portuguese fluently, so I was able to speak with the team, but now we're in another country, in another context with another language. And, when I'm with the Haitian women, no idea how to communicate, can't communicate. And after that 2-week period was over and I'm in the airport about to head back to Brazil, I have another conversation with the Lord and I'm saying, God, why in the world did you call me to Haiti? Well, I don't understand why you had me go on this trip. It makes no sense. That was very uncomfortable. It was hot. I didn't really enjoy it there. And then I hear him speak to me very specifically again. And he says, Wesley, you're going to go back to Haiti. You're going to work with orphans and you're going to do that next. And I instantly had all my excuses. This is kind of how my dialogues go with the Lord. So he says that to me, and I respond in my heart. I'm just having this conversation in my heart with the Lord. And I say, God, you can't send me back to Haiti. I'm 25 years old, a single woman. That's dangerous. I don't know anyone in this country. I don't know the language. I don't know how to work with orphans. I've never worked with street kids in my life. I mean, you must be mistaken. Like, I can't do this. This is not a wise decision for me. And after I exhausted all those excuses, the Lord spoke very clearly back to me and he said, Wesley, you're not going alone. I'm going with you. You don't know anyone in Haiti, but I know everyone in Haiti by name. I will connect you where you need to be connected. You don't know the language, but I do, and I will teach you how to speak Creole. You don't know how to work with orphans, but I've been a father since the beginning of time, and I will teach you how to care and love them. It's no point having an argument with God because he wins every single time. My excuses mean nothing because he has a wise response for every single one of them. So I hear that and I go, okay, Lord, well then I need these confirmations. And I begin to this is how I had been up to that point from 18 to 25 years old. I had just always said, God, you need to confirm this. And I need these 3 confirmations because I was learning to hear his voice. I wanted to be certain that I was not just doing my own thing, etc. So I start to, list these confirmations for him. And I hear him say again, Wes, you know my voice. My sheep recognize my voice, and another voice they will not follow. You need to take this step of obedience and trust me. And again, I knew it was him. I recognized his voice. That scripture was speaking to me in that moment. And so I made a decision. Okay, I'm going back to Haiti. I'm going to leave Brazil, go home, and then I'm going to Haiti. And I'm going to trust God with the process. And I get back to Brazil and I went immediately for a week to my friend's house there to just fast and pray and present this before the Lord and just really, just present my heart before God for him to, speak to me anymore that he had to speak. And he's so good because in that week-long period, even though he said I didn't need confirmation, he gave me 2 confirmations. He had 2 people write me. I hadn't told anyone. One friend didn't even know I had gone to Haiti and sent me a text in that week and said, Wesley, I had a dream where you were in Haiti and you had become a citizen there. And I'm not sure if that means anything to you, but I really felt like I needed to send that to you. And so I was in shock at that. Oh my gosh, God, you're so faithful to speak. And then another friend sent me a message and said, I was praying for you the other day and I saw a check that I need to write to you. But in the memo, it said for the children. And she said, I don't know what that means, but maybe you do. So here I have, you're moving to Haiti, working with orphans, exactly what children, kids that live on the street, exactly what God had spoken to me. So he was so good to confirm it anyway. I go back to the States and then in March of 2013, I have my suitcases packed and I'm going to Haiti. I had been connected with this orphanage that was not a Christian-run orphanage, but I'd been connected with the directors there, and they were going to let me stay there if I taught a couple English classes a day to the community and to their kids. So I had agreed on that. And I get to Haiti, and again, I know no one. I don't know the language. Again, the Lord had just sent me off by myself to this country and to live with them, and not that it's wrong to live with, in a mission organization with people who speak your own language. But in my heart, the conviction I had was that I need to go live with them the way that they live, eat the food that they eat, sleep the way that they sleep, do my laundry the same, like learn everything about their culture and live with them, not separately. And that's what I did. And it was extremely difficult again. I mean, you'd think I had learned up until this point, from 2005 to 2013 these lessons of just reliance on God, but he was just taking it a little deeper each and every time and exposing things in my life where I thought I was really giving him my all, but there was things inside that I didn't realize were there. And in Haiti, in the beginning, the first several months, again, I'm at this orphanage, very challenging. They ate just a couple times a day. So once in the morning around 7 or 8, and then once in the afternoon. And I remember one of the days I'm in the room that they had for me there, and I'm crying out to God on the floor. I'm praying. And this is my lifeline. If you haven't seen it so far, just talking with God, intercession, prayer, just laying myself out before him. That's how I've done anything in my life this far. And so I'm doing the same, just what I know to do. I spent a couple hours every day just on my face before him while I live there. And one of these times I'm just saying, God, I can't do this anymore. This is really hard. No one speaks my language. I'm so tired. I'm hot. I just want to eat a normal meal. I would love some chocolate, just literally every hardship that I was feeling and experiencing in that time. And I felt the presence of the Lord meet me in that moment. And he said, Wesley, I want to be your comfort and I want to be your peace. You've said to me before that I am your peace and I'm your rest and I'm your comfort, but I wasn't really. Now you're in Haiti where your comforts are all taken away and look at your peace is not peaceful. You're not at rest. And it's because you really had put your peace and rest was based off of the comforts that you had, the place that you slept, the food that you could have access to. And I felt so convicted in that moment, the truth of what he was saying to me, that my peace was truly wrapped up in the comforts of this age, the material things, food and sleeping locations and housing and friends. And I felt so convicted by that. I began to repent and I asked him to come be my peace. And it was like I got washed with the peace and rest of God. And my attitude shifted for being there in Haiti. And interestingly enough, shortly after this, I began to be connected with these Brazilian missionaries there. And I grew friendships, and God began to direct my paths in Haiti. And so he always met me. He always came so close, spoke so clearly in these moments of crushing. And there was this cost to obedience, but the value of knowing him more far exceeded that cost every single time. And that's why I kept obeying, kept pursuing, kept moving forward. So I lived in Haiti and going back and forth between Haiti and Brazil over a couple-year period. I was an interim director of an orphanage in Haiti for a while, and I ended up contracting a sickness. During that time, the Lord also spoke to me during a 40-day fast. I was in Port-au-Prince just seeking him for direction, and he told me it was time to go back to street life and that I would be there from January through September of 2015. And he was saying I needed rest and emotional healing. And I was so upset about this again. I hope that when I really mature, I won't be getting so upset about his directives in my life that I can have joy about it. But I didn't want to go back. I finally felt at home in Haiti, and I was seeing signs and wonders happen that I hadn't seen anywhere, not in New York, a couple in Brazil, but there was like substantial stuff happening in Haiti, so much so that other villages were coming around to say, we've heard of these healings, ears being opened and and people who couldn't walk standing up and walking, just incredible things. And others were hearing about it and traveling to the village I lived in to say, what's going on? We need to learn from you. An entire other orphanage came one day to just learn from us and see what we were doing. So see what we were teaching because of all that was happening. It was incredible. I thought I was going to live forever there and see revival pour out on the country. But now God's telling me it's time to go back to street life, and I'm, upset because oh God, I've waited so long to be overseas. I've waited so long to be living in another country and being a missionary, in the way that I've always thought about it. How could you be telling me to do this? But again, I knew it was his voice. I said yes to him because what else was I gonna do? Stay in Haiti in disobedience? That was not an option for me. I love Jesus too much. He's my highest priority. And again, this was him continually forming that in me, where he would be my highest priority, the one who I valued above anything else. Again, above location, above friendships, above anything else, even above signs and wonders and the things that he was doing, that I valued him alone above those things.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for watching this video clip. If you liked it, check out more videos on our channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, get alerts for when we post new stuff, and we hope you stick around. God bless you guys.